Chapter 12 Severed Shackles. The Rubicor bubbled like fresh, simmering blood. Around the spring stood 6 statues, taller and broader than the largest person the children had ever known. Their claws, talons, and bodies made the creatures of their nightmares look like cute pets. One of the statues lay on the ground, its legs broken off. They all faced the spring, aligned like a compass pointing to an unknown pole. Camille walked slowly and reverently a few steps towards the spring, closely followed by 2 of his lackeys. They dragged a bundle of twins behind them, who clung to each other as if trying to form a single body. Sasha and Mikhail were held back by the remaining 3 at the hole in the wall. "There's your spring," Sasha shouted. Camille nodded. His voice, calm and reverent, echoed from all directions through the room. "Let me just check one more thing." He walked over to the twins and stopped in front of Oleg. His henchmen struggled to separate the twins from their embrace. When they finally succeeded, Camille placed a hand on Oleg's back and led him to the spring where he knelt beside him. "Would you please give me your hand?" Oleg looked questioningly at Sasha and hesitantly extended his hand. Camille grabbed it and plunged it into the spring. As Oleg's scream shattered the silence, time seemed to stand still for Sasha. Her heart shattered like glass on hard, cold stone as she stood there paralyzed, unable to do anything but watch. Olga, called by her brother's pain, bit into her guard's hand, but he responded to her bite with a blow far too harsh for her fragile child's face. Meanwhile, Mikhail managed to break free and charge at Camille. Camille jumped up and shoved the screaming Oleg away, causing him to hit the edge of the basin and his scream to be swallowed by the spring. A small movement of Camille's hand, amplified by Sasha's medallion, was enough to hurl Mikhail to the ground and against the fallen statue. Sasha forced herself out of her paralysis and took an unsteady step forward. She cautiously reached out her hand towards Olga's lifeless body, as she always did to gently wake her. But Camille pushed himself into her line of sight. He grabbed her by the chin, forcing her to look at him. With his other hand he drew back to deliver a final blow, but suddenly stopped. His hand released her chin. 1,000 questions reflected in his eyes. Even as he looked down at himself, he didn't understand what had happened. He saw only a blood-red blade that pierced his chest and seemed like one with Sasha's arm. Then he looked one last time into her tear-streaked scarlet eyes.